The guitar is one of the few instruments where knowing the actual notes you're playing is not a big priority for most people, at least not in the beginning. If you look at the piano, for example, you see that little children that have been playing for just a few months or weeks even know all the notes. They can name any key on the keyboard. But take the average adult that has been playing guitar for over a decade, point at a random note on the fretboard, and chances are that he or she will not know the name of that note or will need some time to figure it out. That's not because guitar players are dumb or musically illiterate, but because the geometric nature of the guitar fretboard causes us to prioritize other things over learning the notes. When you learn a simple C major chord in the open position, for example, it's much easier to just learn the fingering shape and place it on the fretboard instead of thinking that you're playing C, E, G, C, E. And even if you're a seasoned intellectual player and you do know the fretboard well and you want to play, for example, an E flat major drop 2 voicing, you will most probably place it using the shape and maybe the root note instead of thinking E flat, B flat, D, G. Even if you do know these notes. The same goes for playing scales. Whether you like to memorize shapes or prefer to use SFS and form your fingerings on the fly, you still don't need to think of the name of every note you play. But as you progress and as your playing starts to become more sophisticated, knowing the notes on the fretboard becomes increasingly important. Those of you that studied SFS with me have seen how knowing the root notes, for example, helps you to jump around freely everywhere on the fretboard. And if you did SFS pentatonics 2, navigating chord changes, you've seen how knowing the notes and locating them quickly can help you to switch scales smoothly. Now, these are just 2 examples where this is useful, but the deeper you go with your guitar journey, the more you see how learning the fretboard really well and locating notes really fast can help open up more and more musical possibilities. So many people think that this is just too hard and never try to do it. That's because indeed the location of the notes on the guitar fretboard is not as obvious as on the piano keyboard or as on a saxophone and so on. That doesn't mean that we can't learn them. We just need a step-by-step system to do it. When I started teaching in 2001, I saw the need for developing such a system in order to help my students get to their destination sooner. That's what I'm sharing with you here. I'll explain the process and then you can download or stream the free Fretboard Memorization Toolbox, which includes everything you need to practice this method. It also includes a PDF where you can find all the diagrams and a clear list of all the steps so that you can follow it in your practice time. So here's step 1. In the beginning, we'll work with just 4 notes, A, B, C, and D. 4 is a good number for this kind of practice. It's a good number of pieces of information that the human mind can handle without becoming overwhelmed. So we'll start with A, B, C, and D and learn them on 1 string at a time. That's why I call this ABCD horizontal. We will move horizontally on the fretboard on 1 string at a time. And we'll do it in 2 parts. The first one is the ABCD drill. Let's see how that works. I'll show it to you using string 4, which is a string that gives most people trouble, but then you should do it on every string. Take a look at the included diagram and try to remember where A, B, C, and D are on string 4. Then you use the ABCD drill videos from the toolbox to practice. There are 2 of them, a slower and a faster one, so that you can practice at 2 different speeds. This is a fun way to do this because you'll be practicing over a backing track, which makes the whole process very musical. I play a few examples in the beginning of the drill videos so that you can see exactly how that's done. Here's a clip from the faster one. So do this until you feel you can find them quickly without having to think about it much. When you can do this on all strings without mistakes, then you can go to the second part, which is ABCD improvisation. In this part, we basically take a backing track and improvise using these 4 notes on a single string. I've included 7 different backing tracks in different styles for you to improvise over. Now granted, there's not much you can do with just 4 notes, but the process of trying to solo creatively with such limitations is actually very beneficial for the development of your musicality. So go ahead and try it. Here's an example on string 4, but again you should do this on all strings. In step 2, we'll be working with the same 4 notes again, but this time we'll do it vertically instead of on a single string. Take a look at this diagram. I have split the natural notes of the fretboard into 5 vertical groups. From this, we'll limit ourselves to ABCD for now. So what you do is to choose a vertical area and try to memorize where those 4 notes are. Then use the drill videos exactly like before, but using a vertical area that you've chosen to practice. After you can do the drill in all areas without mistakes, then you can move on to ABCD improvisation again. Improvisation using a vertical area can feel very strange and it can be even harder to produce nice melodies. But again, it's excellent practice, so give it a shot. Our goal is to learn the notes, so we don't need to worry too much about the quality of our solo. Here's an example of this last part, the improvisation, using vertical fretboard area number 3. In this third step, we're basically repeating what we did in step 1 and practice horizontally, but using all 7 natural notes. Here's an example, again on string 4, using one of the ABCDEFG drills. In the improvisation part, you're still limited to a single string, but now that you have all 7 notes available, you can get a little more creative. Here's an example of that. In step 4, we go back to practicing vertically, but this time with all 7 natural notes. Start with the ABCDEFG drill and then again improvisation. Now the improvisation part is still going to be tricky even though you have all 7 notes available because of the vertical layout. Hopefully this will force you to come out of your comfort zone in order to produce something musical. Here's an example of the improvisation part again. This step is a lot of fun. We're going to get out of the traditional guitar mentality of using fretboard shapes and improvise freely just by stepping on the 7 natural notes that we practice anywhere we see them. Move horizontally on purpose, jump around, go crazy without thinking about any scale shapes. For most people, this kind of improvisation cannot get you to the level of comfort you can get with shapes, just because of the nature of the fretboard. But that's not our goal anyway. This way of looking at scales is called the pitch content approach, and it works great on piano and other instruments. It's actually the main way these musicians locate notes. On the guitar, it's not very practical by itself, especially if you get into keys with a lot of sharps or flats. but it is an added layer of knowledge that can serve as extra security on top of a good visual system like SFS, for example. Plus, it's a great way to learn the fretboard. So here's an example of this. In the example, I will not be thinking of scale shapes on purpose, even though I know them well. I will just locate the 7 notes and play freely. In steps 6 and 7, we add sharps and flats. I used to have my students do this by simple call and response, but when I made the key cycle backing tracks for SFS Pentatonics 2, I realized that they are great for practicing this as well. That's why I've included some of them in your fretboard memorization toolbox. So in step 6, choose a string, put a key cycle backing track, and play the root note of every chord that comes up. In step 7, do the same, but instead of strings, do it using vertical areas. By the time you get to this step, you will have a good foundation of natural notes, so it's going to be easy to add sharps and flats around them. Sharp is 1 fret higher and a flat is 1 fret lower than the natural note. Here's an example for step 6 and then one for step 7. After that, I'll give you one more tip and we'll be done. So with these 7 steps, you will reach a whole new level of fretboard knowledge. Some of you will only need 1 round of each step to get to your goal, so it can just take a few days. But for others, you may need to go through the whole plan a few times. It all depends on your current level. Before closing, I will give you one more tip that can help you solidify your fretboard knowledge. If you like to quickly transfer ideas or shapes all over the fretboard, a slightly different skill is to locate a single note on every possible position. So you choose a note and practice playing it on every string. In the toolbox, you can find an extra lesson, a video excerpt from SFS Pentatonics where I explain how to do this and we talk about this further. So I hope you enjoyed this and I'm sure that it will help you reach your goal of fretboard mastery sooner. This is Prokopis from EffectiveMusicPractice.com reminding you to enjoy your practice and be effective.